In Oklahoma City, on October 13, 2011, suspicious black sacks were discovered behind a supermarket. The moment the finding was made, the police were contacted to investigate. The bags were found by a crew attempting to capture several wild cats. The bags caught their notice due to the foul smell emanating from them. The investigators had to open each of these disgusting bags, notwithstanding their contents. When they did, they discovered a horrendous crime scene unlike anything else they had ever seen. Detectives have since made 2 arrests concerning this incident while they continue to put together exactly what took place. We will discuss each feature in further detail later in the video. The date of Karina Saunders' birth was July 17, 1992. Despite being one of 9 children, the girl always stood out and drew attention. Karina was a gregarious girl who could join any company, according to her father. Karina's parents did everything possible to ensure the young girl had a pleasant childhood and adolescence. Karina attended Mustang School in Mustang, Oklahoma, a small school in a small town. Karina's vocal prowess helped her become well-known while she was a student. According to several accounts, Karina was frequently seen pacing the school while singing different tunes. She ultimately received a spot on the high school chorus team. She consistently performed best among competitors in arithmetic competitions at school, and she won the school spelling bee 3 years in a row. She also triumphed in the national accounting competition. Although this is a strange interest, it demonstrates perfectly the type of person Karina was. She not only knew a lot about accounting, but she also enjoyed it. Her major ambition, though, was to pursue a career as an opera singer. She would have pursued a profession as an accountant if this career path had not succeeded. Karina was so far ahead of other young people her age that she could complete high school 1 year early. Her future appeared to be extraordinarily bright. Sadly, her accomplishments in life came to a stop there. After graduating, according to Karina's mother, her daughter's life turned for the worse. She claimed that Karina had started to battle with substance usage and that she had been involved in several illicit transportation schemes. As strange as it may sound, she decided to spend her summer break in a treatment facility since her issues had gotten so bad. Therefore, this was a major issue that had been developing for a while. Karina's mother recalls that her daughter left the program a completely new person. Thus, her time at the rehabilitation facility appeared well. Karina was relieved to start over, and things have begun to improve for her. But it's important to remember that most people suffer from addiction for the rest of their lives. It's not a problem that can be resolved by spending a few weeks in treatment. Addiction is a habit that can be broken, but once someone has stopped using, the desire for the next dose may appear when he least expects it. According to what Karina's family knew, she was able to manage her addiction and lead a regular life. Karina and her family resumed attending church services, and the little girl occasionally posted about her religious views on social media. Because Karina did not yet have a cell phone or her vehicle, social media was the primary method her friends and family stayed in touch with her. Karina nevertheless constantly updated her blog or used the internet to communicate with her relatives. On September 18, 2011, Karina and her mother attended church for the final time. 10 days later, on September 28th, Karina posted a message on social media asking her followers and friends a question. What do they have scheduled for the evening? It would appear that she was seeking a date. Still, interestingly enough, after making this post, she ceased showing up on social media. Even stranger, Karina's mother also lost communication with her, leaving her family completely in the dark about where she might be and what was happening. Karina's relatives will soon become aware that she is absent. It was revealed that Karina went to a nearby Taco Bell with her cousin Catherine, with whom she had a close relationship, on September 28th, the day of her final social media post. After spending some time together, Catherine departed after making a phone call. To meet her buddy Kenny, Karina stayed at the restaurant rather than following her. According to various reports, Kenny was reportedly a fascinating character in this tale. Karina credits him with helping launch her acting career in pornographic movies. It is still unclear whether the purpose of the incident was to provide sex services on the street or was merely to be filmed. Still, Kenny certainly acted as her manager. The investigators also discovered several hints that Kenny's involvement in Karina's life was indeed. That afternoon, according to Kenny, he and Karina spent some time together before he dropped her off at a complex of apartments close to Oklahoma City. A week later, Karina was spotted by a former classmate loitering close to an apartment building in this city. During their lengthy conversation, Karina revealed that she had recently moved in with a handyman from the apartment building, and that, in her leisure time, she assisted him with chores. Later that day, according to a friend named Keegan, he saw Karina again and stopped to talk briefly with her. Karina hadn't eaten in several days, which he quickly discovered but didn't press the issue. While they were strolling, he discovered that Karina was homeless and subsisted on a very meager income, so he offered to buy her food. On October 8, 2011, they parted ways, and Keegan claims that he never saw or heard from Karina again, at least not until he saw her face on the local news. Police anticipated the worst. They were able to locate CCTV footage of Karina entering a red pickup truck outside of a nearby casino. The video also showed that the woman in the adjacent car implored Karina not to do this. Still, she disregarded their pleas and climbed inside. After that, nobody saw Karina Saunders again. Although the case's CCTV footage does not appear to have been made public, there are numerous internet reports of these recordings. These accounts state that 2 vehicles were parked in front of the casino that evening. One was a dark-colored car described as being nearby and contained, presumed, the same woman who had discouraged Karina from getting into the car. The other was a red Ford pickup truck with a protective shell and headlights installed on top. While the women in the adjacent car yelled at Karina to flee, a large man with tattoos on his arms told her to get inside the pickup, and she obeyed. This man was never located for questioning, nor were the women from the automobile next to him. The following day, Kyle Savage, a friend of Karina's sister, was the subject of correspondence between Catherine, Karina's cousin, and Kyle. It is well known that Karina and Kyle got along well. Still, something went wrong during a conversation between Catherine and Kyle, and he sent a bizarre message that has remained a mystery for all these years. He declared in his letter that he would bury Catherine next to Karina. When the authorities later questioned him about this communication, he said that he sent it to Catherine by accident since he believed he was speaking to one of his male pals at the time. But then the issue is raised. Why would he send his pal such a menacing SMS? The fact that no one had seen or heard from Karina for more than 24 hours at the time of delivering this message, which strongly suggests that something awful had occurred to Karina and Kyle knew about it, made the issue worse. In the end, there was insufficient evidence for Kyle to be charged, but Karina's mother didn't care. She felt odd that Karina hadn't gotten in touch for so long, and when she learned about Kyle's message, she reported Karina missing. As a result, the police launched a formal search for Karina. It was submitted on October 10, 2011. Karina's mother immediately started putting up missing person notices across the city. Additionally, she got in touch with all her relatives and close friends. She learned that nobody had heard from Karina in around a month. Nevertheless, they all collaborated on social media to spread the word about her abduction. They distributed thousands of flyers throughout the neighborhood. Families typically wait a long time to learn the details of a disappearance, and the inquiry lasts for years, but not in this case. Unfortunately, only a few days after Karina's abduction, the Saunders family endured excruciating sadness. A group of animal rescue activists attempted to round up stray cats on October 13, 2011, in the area behind Homeland Grocery. They noticed a strong stench filling the air while erecting animal traps, and when they looked for the source of the smell, they discovered 2 black sports bags of various sizes. As they approached the bags, the scent grew worse and they decided to give up on their initial goal and call the police. The moment the police came to the scene, the detectives noticed that something wasn't right. Later, one of the officers would remark that he smelt decomposition and knew immediately that they were dealing with a heinous crime. Officers discovered when they opened the bags that each sports bag was filled with smaller plastic bags containing pieces of a young woman's body. The absence of evidence at the spot suggested that the actual murder was not committed there. According to investigators, the remains had been lying in bags for around 3 to 4 days. When they were discovered, no one was sure who they might have belonged to. On Monday, October 17th, just 4 days later, Karina's parents got a call from the police requesting they attend the station immediately. When they arrived, it was evident that waiting for positive news on the search for Karina was not worth it, and few people could have been prepared for this. Soon, Karina's parents will experience the unimaginable suffering of losing their child. Karina was last seen alive on the evening of October 8th, 5 days before the gym bags were found, and her last known location was at the same casino in Newcastle. After verifying this information, the officers then focused their attention on a neighboring home at 3500 South Harvey Street. Locals refer to this home more often as the Hangout. There, many drug dealers and users frequented, as well as homeless persons, frequently spent the night. Numerous complaints to the police have been made over the years, and among them are claims of women selling themselves for cash close to the property, a guy who committed suicide within the house, and an instance where they attempted to set the house on fire. Given its proximity to the crime scene, the police immediately started looking for clues in this area because it was so suspicious. Even though the police were unable to locate any proof in the case of Karina, this remark prompted the authorities to order the building's demolition, which served to reassure the locals. The autopsy report on Karina's body was completed around the same time. Everyone won't understand the report's specifics, but those interested can look up the details independently. All that can be inferred is that Karina was restrained and sedated with potent painkillers. Then, her body parts were dismembered so she could not be recognized. However, one witness claimed to have seen a video of this crime, and this witness stated that Karina was certainly still alive at the time it happened. The coroner claims it is impossible to tell whether Karina was alive when the criminals started taking steps to place Karina in sports bags. This witness, Tia, asserts she came across the video while browsing a friend's phone, Luis Ruiz. While visiting Tia, the man left his phone on and went to the restroom. She decided to browse through his pictures and videos, and eventually stumbled upon a video of Karina being tortured. Later, another eyewitness who witnessed the crime being committed directly was located. She claimed that she was shocked when she understood what was happening, and that she even had to jump out the window to protect herself. Given everything known about the man in the red pickup truck and Karina's friend Kyle, it initially appears that Luis's involvement in this crime was wholly accidental. However, it turns out that this was not the case. Following a thorough examination of Luis Ruiz's past, investigators learned that the guy had a history of involvement in numerous crimes, including human and drug trafficking, as well as, potentially, several homicides. The most absurd aspect of his life is that he spent significant time working as an elementary school teacher. According to rumors, he left this position after he began engaging in human trafficking and no longer needed money. On July 22, 2012, the police gathered enough proof to accuse Luis of killing Karina. Still, it later emerged that he was not the only person responsible. At some point, 2 prisoners went to the police. They reported that they had overheard Jimmy Massey, another prisoner, admit to perpetrating this act. Because they allegedly controlled a network for people trafficking, Jimmy and Luis had a close relationship. Though it now appears that the inquiry is nearing its conclusion, why this crime was committed remains a mystery. Karina had no link to either of these males, so that she might have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Among the worst situations you can experience is becoming a victim of human trafficking. Every day, countless young people are compelled against their will, and most of these victims try to flee at some point. One can speculate that Karina's experience was an effort to illustrate to the other victims of Luis and Jamia what would occur if they also sought to flee. On the other hand, Karina was not a victim of human trafficking and simply happened to be at the casino at a miserable time. The most dramatic shift in the investigation happened suddenly. Due to a lack of evidence, the charges against Luis and Jimmy were dismissed in 2013. Despite having a ton of credible testimony regarding Luis and Jimmy, the police could not locate any proof connecting either of them to the crime site or supporting any of the witness accounts. Witness testimony can significantly progress the investigation, but in this case it was ineffective, and the police could not find these men guilty. Even worse, the video Tia claimed to have discovered on Luis's phone has never been located, raising the possibility that either she made it up or that Luis destroyed the footage. Luis was also compensated $150,000 after his lawyer learned about at least 10 civil rights breaches perpetrated against him while he was in detention. In the end, before the police could figure it out, these men were acquitted. The probe has been halted since that time. Although the FBI and several Oklahoman investigating agencies are still looking for additional evidence in this case, it is reasonable to conclude that there isn't much of it. The perpetrators of this crime did a great job of hiding their tracks, and the police now have very few leads. It doesn't matter if the police can't show that Luis and Jimmy were engaged in this, as many people still think they were. After all, it is both conceivable and highly likely that Karina did nothing improper the night before she vanished. Investigators had to concur with her friends' and family's claim that she had no known connections to any suspects. Although the investigation is not going well, searching for the perpetrators guilty of Karina's killing is still ongoing. In addition to the $50,000 prize for anonymous testimony, police offer a $10,000 reward for any information.